Hey everyone, welcome back to Yellow Jacket Garage. As you can see by the amount of stuff laid out on the table before us, we've got a few things that we're going to do today. We're working on the 2009 GMC Yukon. We're going to do an oil change the air filter. Let me see. And then we are going to, because there's the oil filter, and then we're going to change the spark plug wires, clean the MAP sensor, and try to figure out why we're getting this evap code. And so when you get an evap code, it could be a whole list of things wrong. As you know, in the last episode, we've already changed the knock sensors, and so hopefully that clears that up, and there's not more to that story. Everything else on that side looked good, so I figure we're going to start working our way back. Once we get this evap code fixed or figured out, we'll be able to take it out and drive it and see if any of the codes come back. There are some permanents, and so those may have to be dealer deleted. My scan tool is not big enough to delete all of them, so we'll do the best we can with what we got. But the most important thing that we're trying to do is solve the drivability issues. It's doing the chugging and not burning the fuel real well, and so that leads me to believe that maybe we have a bad spark plug. I don't know when the last time these were changed, but we're going to change those out. Look at the ones that come out, see how they, see if they're good, bad, or what. We might be able to nail down some of the problems right there. And I'm not going to get real deep into showing the oil change and all the other stuff unless there's something in there that I think needs to be on camera so that we can see if there was a problem, that we're possibly solving that problem based on finding something there. So anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and dive into this project, get it done, and see where it leads. Okay, I'm up so close because I wanted to try to do this the best I can. I went ahead and I've got the number 8 plug out, and well, it's changed out. So, but anyway, I wanted to show you the difference. If you can see that on camera, this of course being the new plug, this being the old plug, and the gap that's between the two, the gap on this one is pretty well toasted. So that could be part of the issue with it running a little bit rough and whatnot, but plugs definitely needed to be changed out. So at least that's a start. We got that one going. I started on number 8. Why? Because it's the furthest to the back on the whole thing, and it's the most difficult to get to. So as always, let's start with the most difficult and work our way out, because it gets a little bit more satisfying as you feel like the job gets easier as you go along. So anyway, there's that. I'm going to go ahead and finish changing out the rest of the plugs, and if I see anything that's more, more telling, then by all means I will show you that as well. So I'm going to dive back in, and we'll get that part of it done. Okay, we're back. I've already done the spark plugs. I have not done the oil change yet, but I figured I would jump into this. I'm going to pull this whole assembly off. The MAP sensor's here, but I'm going to try to pull the whole thing off, and on this particular vehicle, it's a, 5/16 nut driver is what'll loosen this whole thing up. I do have an air filter which goes in this box here, and so, but what I want to do first is check the MAP sensor to see what that looks like, what kind of condition it's in. Go ahead and pull this air box off, because I want to, come on, okay, this is loose, so we're going to pull this off first, somehow, maybe. All right, let me go get the Torx bit for this, pull this loose, pop that off, go ahead and pull that off. That's the connector for the MAP sensor. Then we're going to pull the sensor out and clean the sensor, so I'll show you how to do that part of it. We're going to pull this all the way off, and I'm going to spray the throttle body down too a little bit. Basically, the potential is because of having the one code that it's throwing, is that there may be a leak somewhere between here and the engine. And so I want to try to track that down. I want to clean the sensor to make sure that that's good to go, and inspect the sensor once I get it out of there. But something with the sensor to make sure the wires that are in there, do not touch those with your hands. They're very fragile, and so if you break one of those, the sensor's no good and you'll have to replace the entire sensor. So the idea is to pull it apart, look at it, inspect it, make sure that wire is still good, clean it, reinstall it, and then we'll go from there on seeing how this thing goes. But let me go ahead and get the Torx bit to pull the air box off. We got to do that anyway because we're going to replace the air filter. I'm going to pull this whole mechanism off, and we'll do the inspection on it, make sure it's all clean, tight, and serviceable, and then we'll get back in there. So I'll be right back. All right, so Torx 25 is what these go off of. So these bolts that are in here have a capture on them too, so they shouldn't pop out, so don't pull them all the way out if you can avoid it. There are 4 of them, and this box is a little bit loose in there. Being as loose as that is, we'll go ahead and diagnose that, see if we can figure out why that is. Whoops, that's down there, that's okay. Well, that air filter is new, so we're not going to worry about that. Is that so tight on there? It shouldn't be that tight. There we go. That air filter appeared to be new. I don't know how new it is, so we're not going to mess with that right now. But anyway, we've got that part out. Don't lose any of these. Let's see how well we can see that. Down that hole, this is the sensor here. See those 2 little wires that are on it? Those are the wires that you don't want to touch. So basically keep your fingers off of those. It's going to take the Torx to pull these out, 2 little Torx screws. The whole thing will slide out, but I'll show you that here in just a second. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and try to pull this off. Come on now. Come on. There's that. There we go. So we basically got the whole air box off. Everything looks clean. It looks like it's okay in there. So check the throttle body. We'll clean that up a little bit and see how that looks. I don't suspect there's an issue with that though. Yep. So I think that's okay. So our next thing is let's go and get the bits, pull the sensor out, and we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that. Okay, it's a Torx 15 for this particular application. Pull these out. Don't lose the screws. And I put gloves on for 2 reasons. Reason 1 being I don't want to get my fingerprint oils on anything in there. And for 2 is the spray that I'm going to use. And see, that just pops out once it comes out. Make sure that you know how it goes back in. In the first video when I was talking about clocking things, there's these 2 little tabs here, and then inside there is this, make sure I get in front of the camera. There's this little block here, and that's a locating tab. And the idea behind that is so that when you go to put this back in, you know that if these are offset, to make sure you don't put the thing in backwards like so, because it won't go in that way. But if it would, and I'm sure that there's a reason for that to be there, is that people probably tried to put it in backwards. And so anyway, that's how it goes. And so looking at everything in here, everything looks okay. So we're going to go ahead and spray this down, clean it up. I'm going to clean this up a little bit too, because there's a little bit of gunk around this O-ring that goes around here. Not that that'd be enough to make a difference, but a little bit of a leak goes a long ways. So let me go ahead and move stuff around and get ready with the drain pan and everything to do this. All right, I've got the drain pan underneath it. The hose is on. And so I just want to kind of clean this all up. Now this cleaner is such that it won't hurt any of this other stuff, and it dries pretty fast. And so basically from there, we'll knock off the drips, and that's it. That should be clean. That should be ready to reinstall. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, my inspection on this, basically what I'm looking for is this boot to make sure there's no rips or tears. This looks like there was a mark from where it may have been off a little bit sideways, and same over here. So we'll make sure we pay attention to that when we reinstall it so that it doesn't get pinched or lined up wrong. This flex boot, same thing with it. There are no cracks or tears that are visible. And so I think it's ready to reinstall this. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Slide that back in there where it goes. I'm feeling underneath the edges just to make sure that it's going on smooth like it should. And just like that is. I'm going to leave those loose until I put the air cleaner or the air filter back in and reassemble that part of it. But all in all, that's that. I think we're good there. Go ahead and put this hose back on. And again, this is where we want to make sure we don't have any leaks or any air gaps, because that'll cause a code. So, all right, that's up there. That's snug. And so we want to grab our plug, plug that back in. It's all secure. Let me grab the air filter. We'll throw that in there and we'll tighten this part back up, and that should be it for that. All right, here's the new air filter. I'll lift this up. Of course, I went ahead and installed everything back in there, and so now it's going to make it a little bit more challenging to get this stuff back in. There we go. The one screw on this side makes it kind of tough to get this air box back together. So you have to kind of be careful how you're doing that one. I am using the socket, but I'm going easy with it because we want to go easy with it. Come on now. So, got it going. Ooh, a little bit too much right off the bat. We don't want to do that. Real easy with them. I kind of hit it a little bit harder than I needed to. There we go. There we go. And last but not least, that pesky one. There we go. The air box is in there. There are some rubber snubbers in the bottom that this sits in, and it's not wanting to engage those like it should. Okay, we're going to leave that sit for a minute. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut the camera off, but I'm going to pull this back apart and make sure that box is sitting in there the way it should, because I don't like how loose it is. It shouldn't be that loose. And so we're going to make sure that it fits right. Okay, we've got that all back together. I did have to unplug it one more time, so now I gotta find out where the end of that is and plug it back in. And of course this coating, the wire coating, is just really in bad shape. So I think I want to make sure there's nothing warm over there, and there isn't. And so got that over there. It's all plugged back in. It's all tight. The problem with the air box is there's some rubber grommets inside, and there's some plastic feet that go into the grommets, and the grommets have kind of broken down a little bit, and so there's not a whole lot left for them to grab. It's loose, but at least it's in there. And so now it's where it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the band clamps, because this one time it band clamp, and we'll get those tightened up, and then we're going to go take a peek at the gas cap and see if maybe that's it. But as far as this side of it, I can't find a smoking gun. And so the sensor's clean, new air filter, no cracks or anything in any of the plenum, the air intake stuff. It all seems to be in good shape. So the only other thing would be a bad sensor, but I just don't see that being, unless something's broken and I can't see it. So the next step we're going to take a look at is the gas cap, possibly replace that. I don't have the replacement cap, but that's about all we can do at this point. So like I said, I'm tightening these up, put the engine cover back on, and then we'll go look at the gas cap, because, you know, gas caps are exciting. All right. I'm looking at the seal, the gasket in here. There is really nothing visible here. That little O-ring that goes around there seems to be okay. So now these gas caps will go bad. They will come apart inside and break. But that one seems to be locking down okay. So that's it for now, unless we replace the gas cap. So there's our diagnosis. Let's find out what happens with it. I'm going to go ahead and change the oil and do a couple of other things, and then I don't know, I'm going to clear all the codes again and see what happens. See if it runs decent or whatever. I haven't started it up since we changed the spark plug, so I don't think that's a big deal though. But get the rest of it done and we'll be done with this thing. All right, so there you have it. That I think we're about wrapped up with everything that we can do, or that I can do, that's within my capabilities of testing. And so all I have left to do is go drive it and kind of see what the drivability issues are like, and then we'll go from there, figure out what we want to do next. What did we do? I replaced spark plug wires, replaced both knock sensors, did an oil change, cleaned the MAF sensor, inspected the air intake for any leaks, cracks, damage, anything of that nature, and found nothing. And I think that's about it. But I think that's about all we have left within my capability, like I said. And so I'm gonna go drive it, see what it does, see if the codes come back, or if it's drivable, if it's whatever, and then I'll discuss it with, hey, Graham. Graham's back to say hi. Come here, dude. Meow. What's up? So anyway, I'll talk to Burke, who Road Odyssey, who owns this vehicle, and see what he wants to do from there with it. But I think all in all, that's it. So project is as done as it can be for right now. We'll figure it out from there and keep going with it. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching Yellow Jacket Garage. Hopefully you were able to learn a little bit of something out of this, the last 2 videos, or 3. I don't know how this is all going to shake out. But anyway, I've got the footage for probably 2, and see what happens when I edit them all out. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for being along for the journey, and we'll see you on down the road. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, kind of whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. Channel growth is kind of nice. What is on top of your head? Every time he comes wandering through, I expect something different with him. Anyway, channel growth is really kind of nice. It helps me out. And so if you'd like to do that, please subscribe. Thanks. Have a great day, and we'll see you on down the road. He's beating me up with his tail over here. There you go, dude.